Hello everyone. Thanks for tuning into Cine Samvad. Kalki 2898 AD has concluded with an interesting and thrilling finale, sparking numerous theories among audiences around the sequel of the film. This is going to be really big, as the film's cinematic events have set the stage for a larger narrative with Kalki's cinematic universe. While the film had a slower start initially, and it builds momentum and takes time to reach its main plot point. It is in the second half that film gains the pace with intensified drama and action, captivating viewers with stunning visuals and compelling storytelling. Today, we will delve into the key plot elements of the film and try to explore the future of its thrilling cinematic universe. It's so evident that audiences from a long time wanted their own Indian cinematic universe, which is rooted in our rich history and Hindu scriptures. Despite our cultural wealth, such narratives in the films have been so scarce until recently. Kalki 2898 AD emerges as a transformative entry in this genre. Previously, Ayan Mukherjee's Brahmastra attempted a similar narrative, rooted in our ancient scriptures and drawing inspiration from mythological astras. Yet the film fell short due to its dialogues and unconvincing portrayal of few things, which were somehow not at par with the audience expectations. In contrast, Nag Ashwin's Kalki demonstrates a more compelling approach with meticulous research and grandeur. Drawing inspiration from Hindu scriptures and mythology, Nag Ashwin weaves multiple character arcs and situations in the film, which culminates into a cliffhanger at the end that eagerly anticipates the sequel of the film. Also, it does make sense that this is a whole lot of a cinematic universe rather than a single part film, as many of the situations and arcs doesn't end with the first film, and the film's expansive scope suggests a larger cinematic universe, promising ongoing narratives that extend beyond its first installment. Plus, it is good for the cinematic and storytelling point of view, as it captivates with its storytelling, which enriches our cinematic experience by bringing our history to life on screen. One of the pivotal characters in the film was Sumati, portrayed as soon to be a mother and believed by Shambhala and Ashwathama that her child is going to be the final reincarnation of Lord Vishnu. The narrative of the film predominantly revolves around Sumati, particularly in the second half of the film. Ashwathama already sensing the signs of the arrival of a divine god on earth, and on the other side, the relentless Bhairava seeks to capture Sumati for a hefty bounty to gain access to the complex. Ashwathama successfully escorts Sumati to Shambhala, where rebels rally to protect her as well. In the climax, Commander Manas and his forces breach Shambhala, where Bhairava was already present. When Ashwathama was tied up by the Commander Manas and about to take Sumati with him, an important yet surprising revelation unfolds when Bhairava is revealed to be the reincarnation of Karn, as he has gained the ability to wield Karn's ancient weapon to fight off Commander Manas and his army. After Bhairava defeats and kills everyone in the Manas army, he somehow regains his composure and departs with Sumati from Shambhala, leaving Ashwathama unable to fulfill his duty of safeguarding her, and thus setting the stage for a more intense and action-packed sequel. It was really interesting to observe that Bhairava's transformation into Karn comes as a significant surprise, and it was masterfully hinted by the director within the film's screenplay. In one of the scenes involving Bujji and Bhairava, where they consult a fortune reader to know about the Bhairava's destiny, and the card he pulls out was something that was so strange to everyone, and it showcases the light of sun in it, and it definitely hints at the Bhairava's fate in the film. It totally symbolizes that Bhairava is the reincarnation of Karn, as he was a Suryaputra, and that might be the reason why he has managed to wield a divine weapon of Karn from Mahabharata. Additionally, Kamal Hassan's portrayal of the formidable Supreme Yaskin involves extracting a serum as part of Project K. In the post-credit scene, when he injects a drop of serum extracted from Sumati's womb, his body showcases an unbelievable physical transformation. His all muscles are restored, and he is not longer a weak old man. After then, he picks up an ancient weapon, Gandiv, which was used by Arjun in Mahabharata, which nobody was able to touch in the film, as it was that powerful and stronger. This moment shows that he has turned into a powerful god himself, and it hints for the future of this universe that Supreme Yaskin will now prevent Sumati from giving birth, as that child can be the end of his rule and will eventually be responsible for the end of Kali Yuga. Also, if we start to think what this film can transpire in its coming sequels, then I have few pointers with me as well that could be present in the further parts of the cinematic universe. First, future of Bhairava and Ashwathama. In the end, Bhairava has escaped with Sumati heading to the complex, and it is evident that Bhairava is unaware of the fact regarding his previous life as Karn in Mahabharata and how much he is actually capable of. So there might be a chance that the film explores his character arc to rise above his own selfish interests and see the bigger picture. Also, Bhairava is technically responsible for the killing of Commander Manas, and Supreme Yaskin could become aware of this and capture him as well. This could lead to a scenario where Ashwathama and Bhairava, who were also friends in the Mahabharata, now unite again against a common enemy to protect the divine child. After Ashwathama might reveal Bhairava's true identity and help him realize his untapped power and strength. Supreme Yaskin's identity as Kali. The film leaves unanswered questions regarding the character of Kali, hinting strongly that Supreme Yaskin might be that evil force Kali. Yaskin was able to wield Gandev, which was actually Arjun's weapon, aligns with this theory. Bhairava is actually Karn, and when in the climax all of them meet, then there might be a scene when both Bhairava as Karn and Yaskin with Gandev will have a battle, like Arjun and Karn in the Mahabharata. Introduction of other immortals. There is a high possibility that other gods and immortals might be revealed in the film's further installments as a source of Mahabharata and ancient scriptures. Nag Ashwin's thoughts and vision has opened a whole lot of interesting opportunities by way of introducing the characters as they have set up the Bhairava's character as Karn, and that can be so great to see when everything will be built up to the final fight. In conclusion, Kalki 2898 AD ends on a high note, leaving audiences eagerly anticipating the unfolding of these narratives in the future installments. The film's blend of mythological references, complex character dynamics, and compelling action sequences ensures a captivating journey through this universe. So that concludes few of my thoughts on the future of the cinematic universe. You too, please share your thoughts in the comment section of the video regarding what do you expect from the future installments of Kalki 2898 AD, and let's have a healthy discussion over it. Also, if you have enjoyed this discussion, please show your support by liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more content ahead. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at Cinesamvad for short reviews and many more cinematic insights. Thank you for watching. We will meet in the next one. Cheers.